guys, it's Bree and welcome to my channel, Just Breezy. If you're not a subscriber yet, I would love for you to become one. Just be sure you hit that bell for notifications because I don't want you to miss out. We upload weekly content to discuss societal concerns, spread some joy, and connect to others because like we say, life isn't always just breezy, but together it can be a little easier. So guys, the video you're about to watch is a vlog that I created last week in a moment of emotional stress, I shall say, a time when I was feeling really vulnerable following an anxiety attack. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really sure if I was going to post it or not because I felt very exposed after watching it back. But I decided that in my sort of quest to connect to others that are struggling as well, it's really important to not just come on when I'm like, hey, but also show some of the real struggle that goes on when you have anxiety. It's also important for me to say that although in that moment, and since then, you know, like a lot of other people, I have been struggling through my anxieties, especially through the pandemic. It's temporary. I don't live in that space all the time. And I think that's so important for people who struggle with anxiety or depression or whatever it might be to realize that it can be temporary because there are people out there to help and there are different coping mechanisms to, you know, implement to help you through it. So nothing has to be permanent. And that's something really important for all of us to keep in mind. So I'd be interested to hear some of your feedback and your comments and perhaps some of your own experiences with your own mental health journey after you watch this. I wanted to come on because I am right now at the tail end of a pretty intense anxiety attack. And I have to say the past couple of weeks I've been struggling again with my anxiety, like I know many people have. And it's been really hard for me to sort of admit that to myself, let alone to make a video about it, because I've been doing all the things. I've been taking my Lexapro religiously. I've been focusing on my diet and my nutrition, and I've cut out most sugars and feel so much better. And every day I'm exercising, whether it's power walking, biking, dancing. I reach out to people when I need to. I do all the things that I know to do that make me usually feel better. And the past couple of weeks have just been a struggle. They really have. They've been a struggle. And today is really, it's frustrating to feel this way because I look outside and it's beautiful out. The sun is shining. It's not too hot. My kids aren't being the spawn of Satan today, which that's a plus. And it's just a pleasant day. And yet inside, my throat is tight. I feel like I'm on the verge of crying. I just feel kind of gross inside. And years ago, and I've talked about this before, when I would feel this way, I just sort of accepted like, okay, this is who I am. And I have these feelings and it is what it is. And I learned through therapy that it's not just it is what it is, that for me, it's specific triggers that trigger this emotional and physical response in my body. You know, people who have panic attacks, and if any of you watching have panic attacks, you know that a lot of times those attacks, those feelings can come out of like the blue, you know, and they're really intense and you may not know what the trigger is. And for me, I know what my triggers are. I've spoken about that. And the major one for me is the word safety and everything that is involved with safety. And I've shared how in the past, I've always had intrusive thoughts that would come in while I was working, driving, socializing, cooking, resting, anything. I'd have these intrusive thoughts, these really bad what if scenarios. I mean, worst case scenarios you can think of would enter my head, and I would just be like, oh my God. And I truly felt like I was going crazy at one point. Like, why do I think this way? Why do these thoughts come into my head? And again, it wasn't until therapy and it wasn't until really doing some research on it myself that I realized, okay, that those are called intrusive thoughts. And for me, it's a big part of my anxiety. The past couple of weeks, me running to the store, even for like a half hour, has been really difficult, because all of a sudden the intrusive thinking is there again. And then it's moved to some of the typical ones I would have, where Mike would leave the house and today's the day that something terrible is going to happen to him at work. He's going to get called to a story, and I'll get the call saying something happened to him. That used to play through my head on a daily basis. And then I started taking medication. I started taking Lexapro that I talk about all the time, and it was such a game changer, and it still is. And it would allow me, I would always say it would allow me room in my head that I didn't have prior, to realize when the negative thoughts would come. And I was able to very easily push them out and say, I don't need to engage in that mindset. I don't need to engage in the what ifs. Everything's okay. And I felt like I had control over it. And the past couple of weeks, I just have been struggling, and I've been really mad at myself and really disappointed, and thinking, you've made so much progress. You've made so many changes. What in the hell is going on? And then a friend, somebody who's in my master's class, sent me this article, not knowing that I've been struggling, sent an article about, are you having trouble focusing during the pandemic? And I was like, yeah, sure, as everybody else is. And I started reading it, and it was saying about how when you're in a situation where the outcome doesn't seem obtainable, there isn't a definitive answer. There isn't safety guidelines that are so concrete that just seem like, yes, that is the way everybody should be doing things. When everything is so unsettled and unclear and murky, of course it's going to affect you. And all of a sudden it was like one of those light bulb moments. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Meaning me. Of course your anxiety is going to be popping up in old ways again. Of course, because I have recognized that the closer we get to September and the start of school, the more I've been feeling uneasy. The more theories come out, and we're seeing numbers go up and down in different states. The more you go on social media and it's wear a mask to show you care for others. I'm not wearing a mask because it's against my rights as a human being. It's just such a flip-flop game, that goes on about all of it. And I wrote a blog post about this a couple of weeks ago, feeling like a coin that's constantly being flipped with where I stand on certain things. I want my kids back in school, yet, are you kidding? I want them back in that petri dish. Of course they're going to wear masks. Wait a minute. I don't want them to wear masks in school. Yes, I want play dates so my children have social experiences, but wait a minute, where have those kids been? There's so much. There's so much going on. And I mean, these are the times where I pause and I look for things I'm grateful for, and that my immediate bubble is healthy. And I know that there are people that have been affected in so many more devastating ways, losing family members to this, really struggling with their mental health, losing businesses, out of work. I mean, there's so much. But then at the same time, there's all these issues. And I know I'm not alone. I know so many of you who are watching this are probably going to say I feel the same way. There's so many things where it's like, I don't know how I feel about it. And you know me. Well, some of you do. I'm very outspoken. I know where I stand with a lot of issues, and I'm unwavering on that. But there's so many things that are coming up with all of this, and I'm just like, how do I feel about that? Yay, a vaccine is coming. Wait, no, I don't want that. Yay, a vaccine means A, B, and C, but I don't want my kids being part of the first round. I want to see how this plays out because I don't want us being guinea pigs, yet I want us to be protected. But wait, it's exhausting. It's confusing. It's unsettling. And at the end of the day, I don't feel safe. And like I have said, safety is my trigger. I know that. It stems, and I've talked about this all the way back from being a little kid and being in an abusive household, and then having that carry throughout my life of just not feeling safe. And I think life and mental health and all of the things have a funny way of biting you in the ass when you least expect it. Because I have truly, over these past months, this past year, thought, I got this in the bag. Most days. A lot of days I'm struggling with the stuff most of us do. Parenting with the kids, adulting, all that stuff. But my mental health, I really thought, at least since November, December, that I was taking full control over it and ownership of it and knew what I needed to know and doing the things I needed to do. So to really find myself in a place of struggle the past couple of weeks, like I said, has been really disappointing. Yet at the same time, I need to have grace and kindness for myself to realize I'm a human freaking being going through a pandemic who's been quarantining since March like everybody else. If I didn't feel anxious about it, I think that might be a little odd. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to share. I felt like I needed to share because as isolating as anxiety and depression and all of that could feel at times, you know that it's not just you going through it. Like, I know I'm not the only one struggling with all of this. I know I'm not the only one that's worried, that's feeling unsafe, that's feeling uncertain, that's questioning so much. It's fun, isn't it? Good Lord. But anyway, I hope you're doing okay. Whoever's watching, I hope you're doing okay. And if you're not, I hope you know enough to do the things that are going to help you. Like, I'm struggling, but I also know the things that are going to help me. I know I need to check in with certain people to say, hey, kind of having a hard time. I know I need to focus in on the things that are good for my soul and my brain and my mindset and all that. Like, I know the things to go back to. But I also know that my Lexapro and my walks and my good diet, they're not magic pills. They're not. They're things that help so much. But I'm still going to have these moments where just being a human being is overwhelming, It is. It's overwhelming. And I know it is for a lot of people too. So anyway, well, listen, I know it's going to happen. A lot of my friends and family are going to watch this and you're going to text me, are you okay? I'm okay. Sometimes I'm not. And it's not to a point where people need to worry. Like I said, it's feelings that I know a lot of people feel. But I'm okay, Just sometimes I'm more okay than others. Like I'm sure you are at times, right? I think that's all part of like the human experience of going through life. But anywho, well, listen, as always, I always say thank you. And I mean that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you for reaching out and saying, I appreciate you sharing what you're going through, because I'm going through the same. That means so much when, oh, good Lord. But when other people connect to what I'm going through and feel a little less alone, I'm so happy that I get to be that for somebody. Anyway, well, I am going to blow my nose and I'm going to get on with the day and I'm going to be okay. Just having one of those days, you know. But I hope you guys are doing well, and we will chat again soon.